Hello and welcome to the Online Graduate Research Forum for Spring 2016. My name is Rebecca Bailey and I will be your presenter today. I'm a graduate student in the Masters of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies program in the Department of Occupational Workforce and Leadership Studies at Texas State University. The title of my research study is Assisting with Georgetown Police and Victim Services. A little bit of background information on my practicum. I chose Victim Services with the Georgetown Police Department for my practicum site. For the past 10 weeks, I've been working with the Georgetown Police Department Victim Services Division as a volunteer and will continue to do so for a minimum of 1 year. The purpose of my practicum was to train to respond to emergency situations while providing support for victims and their families during a traumatic event. The organizational location is Georgetown Police Department Victim Services Division, 3500 D.B. Wood Road, Georgetown, Texas. I selected Victim Services as a way to step out of my comfort zone while doing something to help other people. My decision to work with the Georgetown Police Department was an easy choice as I already knew a few officers with the Georgetown PD and have always been impressed with their level of commitment to the city of Georgetown and its inhabitants. During the course of my practicum, I focused on 4 learning objectives. Learning Objective 1, attending crisis calls and assisting with comforting victims. Learning Objective 2, know victims' rights as well as pertinent resources within the criminal justice system and community. Learning Objective 3, work on victim assistance training and how to assist victims with safety planning, applying for protective orders, relocation, and address confidentiality. Learning Objective 4, make competent and ethical decisions based on experience and training. Need for the practicum is learning more about different types of crises and how they are handled. There were many interesting things that went on during my 10-week practicum, but since I can't cover them all, I will highlight just a few. Assisting on victim services calls. When I started my practicum, I met with my site supervisor, and we went over what was expected of me and what I might expect on different calls. While every call I went on was a heartbreaking situation, I learned something different every time. The first call I went on, I spent a lot of time listening and watching how things were done. I did speak up a few times, but during the first call, I mainly just observed. After the next calls after that, as I got more comfortable, then I was even left, by myself on the calls to deal with the grieving families left behind. Number 2, ride-outs with Georgetown PD officer. During my practicum, I went on a ride-out with one of my favorite senior officers with GPD. During the time I was with him, we didn't arrest or transport anyone to jail, but we did go on some interesting calls, and one call we got to run full lights and sirens, so that in itself made the whole night a lot of fun and really awesome. Number 3, getting to know different members of my team. Depending on the day of week and time of day you get the call, you may or may not run into the same detective and or officers on any one call within a week, so you get to know different members of the Georgetown Police Department. The more calls you go out on, the more familiar they become with you. One of the first few calls I went on, when I walked in the front door, the officer asked me who I was and what was I to the family. As I hadn't received my badge yet, I had to let him know that I was with Victim Services. He smiled and said, you're a new one. Yes, I am. During the course of my practicum, we were asked to look at different types of literature. One that I looked at was Mobilizing Victim Services, the role of reporting to the police. Victim services are often the victim's first point of contact after they have spoken to the police. Victim services and the police are often the greatest resource for crime victims. Even though there are many different types of resources for crime victims, they are underutilized as some victims of crime don't think they need the services or don't even know about them. This is one reason why it is so important to know what types of assistance there are out there in your community and give the victim the correct information. During my practicum, I did not have any calls that had persons that were victims of crime, so I haven't been able to put that part of my training to the test. Another literature I looked at was victim satisfaction with the criminal justice system and emotional recovery. While crime victims' compensation is able to help with things like helping the person move, store their belongings until they find a new place, help with turning on new utilities and things like that, the crime victim does have to go through an interview process in order to receive these benefits. At this point, the victim is more than likely physically and emotionally drained. It is wise to have them seek some type of therapy while they are going through this process. Just because there are no scars on the outside doesn't mean they aren't dealing with their own personal trauma on the inside. The last one I looked at was a synthesis of the literature on trauma-informed care, issues in mental health nursing. Persons with a history of traumatic events can become distressed or re-traumatized due to health care after a traumatic event. Knowing before you reach the scene if this has been a recurrent situation can make the difference in how you handle the scene. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats reflections. During the course of my practicum, I was asked to look at my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats on a weekly basis. My strengths are, I pride myself on being able to deal with any situation that arises. I have always been able to roll with the punches, as they say. Throughout my working, academic, and personal life, I have learned how to deal with just about anything that gets thrown my way. Now, I won't say there isn't anything out there that can't rattle my cage, but for the most part, I'm able to conquer anything put in my path. Weaknesses. Due to my work schedule, I haven't been able to spend as many hours with victim services as I have liked to, but on the flip side of that coin, even when you are on call, there's no guarantee that there will be any call-outs for victim services that day or that evening during your shift. Opportunities. Networking with different persons within the criminal justice system. Every practicum or internship comes with opportunities to meet new people. It is up to you how you choose to use your network of people. During the course of my college career, I have been lucky enough to go through 2 different internships. One with the Travis County Criminal Justice Planning Department, where I went through a 3-day training and became a certified reentry offender specialist. I was able to spend my summer helping people with felonies find felony-friendly employers. I actually even got to go spend the day at the federal prison in Bastrop doing mock interviews with guys who were fixing to be released. My next internship was with the Texas Criminal Justice Coalition as a juvenile justice researcher. That was pretty interesting, and that opened my eyes to a lot of things in the juvenile justice system that I never actually thought of before. And then threats. Realizing that some situations may be out of your control and knowing when to ask for help. During my practicum, I haven't been faced with any situations I was not able to handle. Since I will continue to volunteer with victim services for the next year, I am fully aware that there may be situations or persons I come up against that may be challenging, but through the network of people I have, I believe I'll be able to overcome any challenges in my path. My future career plans. Right now, my future career plans are to continue working with victim services, volunteering with them, and expanding my network of opportunity. And as I said before, while I was working on my Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice, I was a research intern for Texas Criminal Justice Coalition, and my main focus was juvenile justice. It is a field that still holds great interest for me and something I may look at getting back into. The last thing on my future plan list is to work with a criminal analyst. During my practicum, I have been working on trying to set up a meeting and to possibly spend a day with the criminal analyst in Georgetown PD, but that hasn't happened yet. So at the moment, that particular future career plan is stuck in the pending file. Comments and questions. On the YouTube page below, please indicate your anonymous preference for this practicum by clicking on one of these 2 icons, like or dislike. Also, please post your comments or questions in the YouTube comment section below. I will respond to your inquiries posted between April 6th and 17th through this webpage. And I thank you in advance for your time and listening to my video. I hope you have a great evening.